the night the millionaire's blind daughter vanished into the cold. The city moved like a beast with frozen lungs. No one noticed the girl in the thin blue coat standing barefoot on the icy pavement. No one except the poor single dad who should have been miles away, running from a disaster he didn't cause. She whispered one sentence that froze him harder than winter itself. "I lost Daddy, and I can't see where the cars are coming from." His heart clenched. He had no right to get involved. No room for trouble, yet he stepped closer anyway, unaware that this single choice would turn his ruined life into a storm of danger, secrets, and a revelation powerful enough to shatter the richest walls in the city. Evan Hale had nothing left except his daughter, Lily, and the rusted apartment they squeezed themselves into. He'd lost his job, then his reputation, then every strand of hope when a supervisor framed him for theft. He wasn't a criminal, but poverty was a crime the world punished anyway. That night, after failing another shift search, he was walking home in the biting wind when he heard the softest, smallest sound, a breath that trembled too much to belong to the wind. Then he saw her. A girl around 12 stood alone at the intersection, her hands shaking as she reached into the dark like she was, trying to touch something that wasn't there. Her eyes were open but unfocused. Her white cane was broken in half beside her boots. A thin dress clung to her, soaked with melting snow. "Hey, are you okay?" Evan asked. She startled and backed up dangerously close to the road. A delivery truck roared past, missing her by inches. Evan lunged, grabbing her shoulders and pulling her back. She gasped, breathing hard, clutching onto him like he was the only solid thing in the world. "Please don't let go," she whispered. "I won't. What happened? Where are your parents?" I don't know. I was in the car with Daddy. We were arguing." He stopped. "He told me to wait inside, but I wanted to prove I could get out on my own. When I stepped out, another car hit ours. I heard metal yelling. Then the door slammed. I reached for him, but I think he tried to get help. And I walked the wrong direction." Her breath shook. "I can't call him. My phone froze. It got too cold. I'm lost." Evan looked around the empty road, the flickering streetlights, the trail of skid marks half buried in snow. It was the outskirts of the wealthy district, far from where he belonged. But one detail struck him. The girl's coat was embroidered with a gold initial, an M, inside a crest he recognized from tabloids and news headlines. She was Madeline Brixton, the blind daughter of Lawrence. Brixton, the ruthless billionaire whose security alone was known to be as tight as a fortress. A girl like her disappearing was the kind of thing that sparked citywide searches. Helicopters, chaos, and somehow she was here. "Look, Madeline," he said carefully. "My name is Evan. I'll help you. But we need to get you warm first." "You're freezing." She shook her head. "No, Daddy needs me." I heard him screaming before everything went quiet. A chill ran down Evan's spine that had nothing to do with the cold. He guided her away from the road. She flinched at every sound, distant sirens, cracking ice, gusts of wind. He draped his jacket over her shoulders, ignoring that his own skin instantly burned from the cold. "You shouldn't give me this," she said. "I'll live," he replied. "You don't sound like someone who's supposed to help me." That stung more than it should. "What do I sound like?" "Like someone who's hurting." Evan didn't answer. They walked through the neighborhood until they reached a bus shelter partially, shielded from the wind. He sat her down, rubbing her arms to keep her warm. But as soon as he let go to check the street for help, she reached blindly for him, gripping his sleeve with surprising strength. "Please don't leave me. I don't trust the dark." He sat beside her. "I'm not leaving." Minutes passed. Then a black SUV drove slowly past the shelter, too slowly. Evan noticed the tinted windows, the dull shine of armor plating, and the way the vehicle paused as if scanning for someone. A man leaned forward from the passenger seat with a phone pressed to his ear. Madeline stiffened. "That's not Daddy's car. Do you know them?" "No." The SUV pulled over. A man stepped out, dressed too clean, too sharp, too calm for a freezing night. He scanned the street, his eyes landing on the shelter. When he spotted Madeline, he smiled, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "There you are," he called, his voice smooth but wrong. "Your father sent me. Let's get you home." Madeline shrank behind Evan. I don't know that voice." "Sir," the man said coldly to Evan, "step away from the girl now." Everything in Evan's gut screamed danger. "Madeline," he whispered, "do you trust me?" She hesitated only 1 second. Yes. Then Evan grabbed her hand and bolted into the night. Behind them, the man shouted, "Get them!" They sprinted into the alleys behind abandoned shops. Snow crunched violently under their feet. Madeline struggled to keep up, nearly slipping several times. But she held tightly to Evan, trusting every pull, every turn, every instinct he didn't know he still had. The SUV's engine roared somewhere nearby. Doors slammed. Heavy footsteps echoed. "Why are they after you?" Evan asked as they hurried through a narrow passage. "I don't know," she panted. "Daddy fired some people recently. They were angry. They said things about revenge. I didn't think—" Evan cursed under his breath. "Okay, new plan." He lifted her, she was lighter than his daughter, and carried her through the snow. She tucked her head into his shoulder, trembling from cold and fear. "You're shaking," he said. "So are you." He found a back exit to a laundromat, pried it open with brute desperation, and slipped inside. The warmth was faint but real. He set her down and barricaded the door with a metal cart. Machines hummed softly in the dark. Madeline pressed her back to the wall. What if Daddy's hurt? What if those men took him? "We'll find him," Evan promised, though he wasn't sure how. "You don't even know him." "No. But I know what it's like to love someone so much. You'd freeze your hands off, just to keep them safe." Madeline tilted her head. "Your daughter?" "Yes." "What's her name?" "Lily." "Does she know you're a hero?" Evan laughed without humor. "I'm not a hero. You are to me." Before he could answer, footsteps approached the front entrance. Evan pulled Madeline behind a row of dryers and crouched low. A shadow moved across the frosted glass. Then a voice, another man's, muttered, "He can't have gone far. The girl's worth billions to the right buyer." Madeline shuddered violently. Evan's blood ran cold. Kidnapping, ransom, revenge. It all made sense now. He waited until the men left, then helped Madeline stand. "We're going to the police," he said. "They won't listen," she whispered. "People always listen to money, not me." "Then they'll listen to me," he said stubbornly. "How?" "Because I'll make them." They slipped out the back door and hurried across the snowy street. Evan guided her with both hands, shielding her from passing cars. Every shadow felt like a threat. Every noise sounded like a trap. But they were getting closer to the main district, when a car skidded around the corner and blocked their path. The same man from earlier stepped out. "Enough running," he said, pulling a gun. Madeline gasped. Evan pushed her behind him. "Take me, not her." The man's smile widened. Brave, stupid but brave. He raised the gun. A deafening horn blasted the street. Another car surged forward and crashed directly into the kidnapper's vehicle, smashing the gunman against the side. The gun clattered away. Tires screeched, metal bent, and the attacking car's door flew open. A man stumbled out, bleeding from a gash on his forehead. "Madeline," he cried. She froze, tears springing to her blind eyes.
"Daddy?"
Lawrence Brixton, disheveled, injured, frantic, limped toward her. She rushed forward and he caught her, holding her so tightly it looked like he never intended to let go. "I thought I lost you," he whispered hoarsely. "I heard the crash. I tried to get to you. I thought—" Evan stepped back, unsure where he belonged in this reunion. But Lawrence looked up at him, eyes burning with something raw and indescribable. "You saved my daughter." "I just did what anyone would have done," Evan said. "No, not anyone." Lawrence's voice shook. "Many drove past her. My security failed, but you, a stranger with nothing to gain. You carried her through the cold. You risked your life." Madeline reached out, finding Evan's hand. He didn't let me fall once. Police sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Lawrence squeezed Evan's hand. An unexpected gesture from a man who supposedly feared nothing. "What's your name?" he asked. "Evan Hale." Lawrence nodded slowly, memorizing it like a vow. "Evan, I don't know what you need, but whatever it is, I'll make sure you and your daughter never suffer again." Evan swallowed hard. The words felt unreal. But Madeline lifted her face toward him, smiling for the first time, small, warm, and grateful. "Thank you," she whispered, "for being the light when I couldn't see anything." And in that moment, standing in the snow between sirens and shattered danger, Evan realized something shocking. For the first time in years, his life wasn't falling apart. It was beginning, but beginnings never arrive quietly. As the police swarmed the street, separating the attackers from the victims. Lawrence kept one hand on Madeline and one on Evan's shoulder, as if anchoring the two people who mattered most in that instant. Madeline leaned toward Evan, still trembling, still clinging to the memory of the cold that had nearly swallowed her. "Will you stay?" she whispered. Evan hesitated. He wasn't part of their world. He didn't belong near flashing lights or questioning officers who might pry into his ruined past. But then he remembered how Madeline had clutched his hand in the dark, trusting him completely when she had every reason not to trust anyone. "If you want me to," he said softly. Madeline nodded, relief loosening her breath. "I feel safer when you're close." Lawrence heard that. His expression shifted. Gratitude deepened into something heavier, something like respect. "Evan, come with us. Tonight isn't over. There are answers we need, and I think you're already part of this." Evan glanced at Lily's photo in his mind, the reason he breathed. Maybe this night, terrifying as it was, could reshape everything he'd lost. Maybe saving Madeline wasn't the end of the story, but the door to a life he never thought he deserved. He stepped forward, and for the first time the future stepped toward him too.